Hello everyone, welcome to another video of AlgoGAN. In today's video, we will learn about persistent storage. Before jumping into what is persistent storage, let's quickly look at the previous demo of our app that will lay the foundation for what we're gonna learn today. So let's open that and see. Here we ran a counter and we tried to save the counter even during device rotation. So what we are trying to do is we were trying to store the state of an activity. So let's quickly rotate the device. See, even though the activity got recreated here, the counter stays, like it continues. But let's see what happens if I click back key. So what happened here is the activity got destroyed. User wanted to exit the activity. So in that case, system won't try to save the state of an activity. So if you come back to it, it starts from the beginning. But we know there are many cases where we want to save something persistently, like user name or any user. For example, you want to show a list of images or list of names. Let's say you have a contacts application where you want to show list of phone numbers. You want to store them permanently. So basically what happens is, like, whenever you launch an application by clicking on the app icon, system creates a new process on the RAM and it loads the app there, and it loads all the app data there uh, as and when it's requested. And so basically whatever you do here will be on the RAM most of the time. So but all the variables that you write in the code, everything is in the RAM. So but if you want to store something persistently, you have to store it in, for example, in computers we store them in hard drive or SSD. In mobile phones, they have, I think, different storage mechanisms. Like, we normally call it ROM, but basically it can be it's not just read only, but it you can read and write as well. So but it stores even if you switch, even if you kill the process, or even if device is switched off, that retains that whatever is stored in that. So let's quickly see how we're gonna like, what are the different ways to store something persistently. And uh, also I'm going to show you where exactly those get stored within the device, so that you will have a better understanding of what is persistent storage. So uh, there are different ways to store it. Like, you can directly access the file system, so using Java or Kotlin, using the file IO operations. Probably you might have done it before, but like using a regular file IO, we can store something onto hard drive or any persistent storage uh, within the device. So but we normally don't want to do that, but because it's a tedious process. Like, you need to make sure you run a background thread, because any uh, file IO operations are file IO operations takes normally longer time than any RAM operations. So uh, we have to make sure it is done on a different thread, and we have to make sure all the threads are synced properly. And so to avoid it, like, we have all these are different ways of storing in files, but like some are easier than the other. It depends on what kind of data you want to store. For example, we can use SQLite DB for a large data that you read, write and delete, probably those kind of things. SQLite is very good. uh, Google recently introduced Protobuff storage in the Android. We can use that also. But there has been like, we've been using something called shared preferences within Android, which is very simple to store something persistently. So today, in today's video we will see how to store something using shared preferences and how to read it back. So let's quickly jump back to our application. So basically, where do we want to store? So we want to store just before user leaves the application. So let's say user pressed back. So you know what methods gets called, like if you have looked at my previous videos. So on pause is the first method that gets called whenever user presses back or leaves the application. So let's use that place to store the data. So now what I'm going to use shared preferences. So let me quickly write the code to. So here we have the method already defined within the activity get shared preferences. So we just have to give a name to the file where do we want to store those shared preferences. So let me create a constant here. So here I'm gonna give pref file, and there is a mode we need to pass text dot. So we, as of now, I'm going to use something called private. So that's most probably you would need the same one. Let me call it prefs. So once we get the prefs object, we have to call prefs dot edit dot. You can put whatever we want to put. So let's put this as an integer. So let's define a key. So to store something within the shared preference, we need a key. So let's just like the counter here. So we can use the same key counter because all we need is a string. So key counter, and the integer is the counter variable. And don't forget to call apply or commit. So apply is an asynchronous one, so don't worry what is that? So it stores it asynchronously. It won't block the main thread, so you need to call apply instead of commit all the time whenever we are calling this from a main thread. So so this way this gets stored is just 2 lines of code. So now but we need a way to restore it. So here you know where to restore it. So in the on create, we will, what we do is, so let's see, so here we are already restoring whenever activity dies because of the config changes. We are trying to restore the state of it from saved instance state. But let's say this isn't, so whenever user leaves the activity on purpose or user kills the activity, we know that saved instance state will be null, because like that will be the first time that the activity gets launched. It won't be, it's not the, whenever it's not a recreation, so the saved instance state will be null. So in the case when the saved instance state is null, yeah, we can write it like this. So so whenever saved instance state is not null, so we will read it from the bundle, otherwise we get it from the shared prefs, the counter value. And let's try to run this. I think that's all we need pretty much. So let me run it quickly. So let me rotate the device here. So that's retained, it's continuing the count. So let me press back key. You see, it continues. So even after activity dies, so let me kill the whole application in case if it's still there. Let me run it again. Yep. See, it just continues from the moment the on pause is called. So that's how we retain. So similarly we can save anything, like in here we saved an integer, so we can save a string or any parsable object. And I will show you where this file gets stored now within the file system. Like, so there is something called device explorer. Just open that. So once you open this, you will see the list of, so just go to data and data. So here, so it's the file system. So like it's a Linux file system. So you see different folders, root folders. These are all called root folders. So there are different ones like data. So most of these are related to OS, so we are interested only in something called data. So this is the one that stores the user data. So we'll go to data. So within that, the app is the installed apps, like the ones that we install, not the ones that come as part of the OS. So these are installed into this apps folder. So within the data there is another folder called data. So if you go here, so we'll search for our package name. So our package name is com.ag. So let's see if we have, see here is our package name. So we'll go there. Within that there is a folder called shared prefs. So in that there is a file called sharedprefs.xml, the same one that we gave here. So let me, so we can pull out that file, or we can directly use a terminal to go there. So let's see if we can go to that. So here is the, so ADB is Android debugging bridge. That's how we communicate with the device from the terminal. So we do ADB shell, and let me go to that file location, cd data com.ag slash shared underscore prefs. So it's permission denied because it's not running as root. So let me exit and let me run it as a root user. So for that we have command called adb root. So let me go back again, adb shell cd data com.ag shared prefs. See the list of files. Let me do that. So if you see, this is how, this is the counter value, this is how it got stored. So if whatever you store within the shared prefs, like you can store multiple values here, multiple key value pairs here, like instead of just applying here, you can store whatever, like let's say put string and give a key value pair here, and then we apply. So that you can store any number of key value pairs in the shared preference. So those will get stored into, like will be written into the same map here. Yeah, I think that's it for this video. Stay tuned, I'll come up with some more interesting videos on an Android. um, See you in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.